software, and I'll be co-hosting this morning's webinar with Stephen, who is the head of the CLIP support department. How are you doing today, Stephen?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here with you guys and help get CLIP2Go up and running for you.
Perfect. Well, that is what we're planning on doing this morning. And a lot of you on this morning's webinar are new users, so you have never spoken with Stephen before in the past, perhaps, but he's always made it his goal to provide the best customer service we can so that we can help you, in turn, become more successful. That being said, if you have any questions during today's webinar, feel free to type those into the questions box. If we don't get to some of your questions, or if you think of questions after the webinar, feel free to call or email our support department. We're always eager to help you out with whatever we can. We sent out a manual that goes over how to set up CLIP2Go. If you didn't get that email for whatever reason, we'll go ahead and send you out that link to you now, and you'll see it in your chat box. So you can go ahead and go to that website, print out the first 12 pages, that's what we'll be going over today, and you can have that with you as we go along. If you like, it might help you out just to follow along with what we're doing in the setup process. And then we'll kind of go off of it if we have time later on to go over a little bit on how to use CLIP2Go after we set it up. Next week's webinar will be Management by Numbers. That'll be about the important numbers in your business and that sort of a thing. It'll be a great webinar to attend, taught by our one and only Dave Tucker Sr. He has over 25 years of experience in the green industry from all sorts of perspectives. Crew manager, working on a crew, then managing the crew, owning his own lawn care company, owning the software for lawn care companies, lots of different perspectives there. And I'll send you over a link to register for that in just a few minutes. Don't miss it, next Friday, same time. For now, let's go ahead and get started with CLIP2Go. Last week we went over CLIP2Go, and that webinar would be a good one to listen to after you set up your account. So after this webinar, that would be a good one to also listen to, and because it goes over more how to use CLIP2Go. It might go over things a little quickly for you, depending on how much you know about CLIP2Go. If it is going a little too fast for you, at least it's a video, so you can always watch it again or give us a call. And we'll start this morning's webinar in the same way, and then get into actual setup, and maybe even have time to go through some of the basic uses. So if you do watch the next one, you might just want to fast forward the first 5 minutes, because we'll be going over the same thing right here and right now. So first, we're going to start with a definition of CLIP2Go. In case you don't know, it is available to the ClipXC members, the CPP members, anyone who has ClipXC. If you have Clip Desktop or Clip Classic or any previous version of the ClipXC, then you don't have CLIP2Go. That's only something that's available for ClipXC. So that being said, it is a website that syncs with your ClipXC that's installed on your computer. And we're going to go over a couple of the benefits, but the devices that you can use it on are it's pretty varied. Because it is a website, we decided not to make it a mobile app so that it could be you could use it on more devices. If it was an app, it could be just an Apple app or just an Android app or something along those lines. But if it's a website, any device that you have that can connect to the internet, you could use with CLIP2Go. So that's how that works. Then we'll go over some benefits quickly for you before we get started with setting it up. First is you can see all of your customers' information from anywhere. And pretty much anywhere, actually anywhere that has internet, because it is a website. But this could be handy if you need to call a customer. Let's say that you're having lunch with your wife and or your husband, and your crew gives you a call and says that they broke a windshield of a customer, and you need to call them right then to ease the pain and figure it out with them. Well, you can just take out your phone, look up that customer's information, and you're good to go. With CPP, you do have one free license, so just setting it up just for this is handy in those situations when you don't have CLIP and you don't have the information you need to know now, and it would be a lot more difficult to go and call the office, or maybe the office is closed or something along those lines. So it can be useful for that.
Right. Another one of the benefits that we have listed here for CLIP2Go is know what jobs your crews are on. Now with CLIP2Go, it enables you the ability to log in and see what job your crews are working on. This can be useful because sometimes if you're, customers might call up and say, all right, hey, I want to go shopping today, but I need to know, I want to be here when the crews get here. So what time will they be here? When are the crews going to come? And it can be hard to tell because you never know what's going, where your crews are at. So if you wanted to just look up, you could log into Clip2Go, and you could find out what jobs your crews are working on, and if they're going in route sequence order, then you could find out how many more customers there are till your crews get to the customer who's calling up to find out when they're going to be done.
Exactly. That can be useful too for the office assistants. And then another benefit is that you have more accurate job costing and employee efficiency reports. These are extremely valuable, an extremely valuable part of CLIP-XE, or any CLIP program actually, is the job costing and employee efficiency reports. With that, you can know which jobs that you're doing at specific customers' houses are losing you money, and then you can choose to raise those so that you ensure that you have a good solid profit every single year. So with Clip2Go, all they need to do is press start and stop, so they have it down to the second of when they started and when they stopped, which means they're extremely accurate. Also, paper route sheets, they're just more unreliable because you could lose them, or you could not read the person's handwriting, or just anything along those lines. But since it's web-based, even if your phone flew out the window, you could look up the information on another device and still have it and not have lost that information. So that's a really valuable part of Clip2Go.
You also have one of the other benefits is no paper route sheets. Now, route sheets can take up a lot of paper. If you have, say you have 5 crews, and for each crew you print out 10 pages of route sheets for each crew, well, that's 50 pages of paper a day. At the end of the day, whenever you're recording that adds up. That's a lot of paper that you're trying to sort through, figure out what's what, and also having to sometimes decipher what the crews are writing down. Sometimes handwriting can be a little bit challenging to read. I know my handwriting is not the greatest, so sometimes if I was to write a note saying, this is what I did here, and then I gave it to someone else, they'd be like, I can't tell what that fella's saying. And it can be a little challenging, but if it's not paper route sheets, it's all on the web, then you don't really need to worry about that problem.
Yeah, and then let's see, another benefit that we have is it almost completely eliminates office time at the end of the day, and this is one of the main benefits of Clip2Go that we've seen in a way that it pays for itself. Some of our customers, we have that and if you look at it on a larger scale, you can kind of see the benefit more real and more in a real way. Corporate Green, they have about 35 licenses, I think it is, and if they were recording that by hand, all of those route sheets at the end of the day, that would take the time of hiring an extra office assistant or two or something along those lines. So you save in payroll if you...
Right, yeah, I mean, just on that note, it's kind of like that, like the example that we were using. If you have 50 pages of route sheets, say you just have 5 crews, and you have 50 pages of route sheets to look through and sort through and find the start and stop times and any notes. At the end of the day, after everyone's done, that can be a late evening for you, or it can make a lot of work for some office worker the next day. So basically, by just having the crews record all the times and everything for you, it cuts all that time out.
So you only have a couple minutes to review the information, do a couple of edits that you might need to do perhaps, and then just finalize it all, and it's all completely done. So that's what we have for the benefits of Clip2Go, and now we'll start with setting it up initially. And we have our manual, and we'll be going along that with the setup of Clip2Go, and we'll be starting on page 4. So if you go to page 4 of your manual, that's where we are, and I'll be kind of shouting out page numbers as we go along. And so now Stephen will go ahead and show us how to set it up.
All right, excellent. So the first thing that we did here, before this webinar started, I went through this and I installed a fresh copy of Clip, entered the product code, product company information, got that all set up. But other than that, I did add a couple of customers with jobs. But other than that, as far as activating passwords, setting up employees and crews, I haven't done anything of that. But we're going to do that today to get this copy of Clip up and running. So hopefully if you're brand new to Clip, or Clip2Go at least, if you've never done anything for Clip2Go, what we're going to do today is going to show you how to get your Clip program ready to send information up to Clip2Go. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that we're going to do is setting up passwords and users. Now, the reason for this is because you need some kind of password to log into your data online, because if you didn't have a password to log in, then that would mean anyone can access your data, and your data would get scrambled up with everybody else's. So you need some way to keep it organized.
And then also you need multiple passwords because they need to record the work. Because if you have only one password, then it'll be the administrative password, and your employees could have all of the abilities that you have as the administrator, and other things that we'll go over later on.
Right. It's just better tracking purposes if you have different passwords, logins, and passwords for each user that uses it. So the first thing that we're going to do, in order to set up usernames and passwords, we have to activate the passwords. So on page 4, you can see that we go to System and Passwords, and I'm going to click on Set Passwords here. So again, that's System, Passwords, Set Passwords. Once we click here, you notice that now if you have set up passwords before, if you've activated them already, then it won't look quite like this, because the colored button would be the deactivate passwords. But because we haven't done anything, we need to activate the password. So this is for the very first time. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to click Activate Passwords. Now this is asking me for a username and password. So the username, if you've never done this before, is CLIP, and the password is also CLIP. So the username is CLIP and the password is CLIP. That's just the default one that we put in the program whenever it was built. So I'm going to hit Login, and it gives me the option here, Activate Password System. Click Yes, and up here it notifies me that the password system is activating. Now that I've done this, I have successfully activated passwords. I have one user here, so I can see, now this is a level 1 user. Now there's different permissions and stuff that go along with being a level 1 user. One such permission, the level 1 user does need to set up the company password, which we will get to here in a bit. But I'm going to add another user for CLIP2Go. So to add a user, what you do is click the Add New User, and it automatically fills in a name. I'm going to change that here. Whoop, if I can type.
And you can see this page on page 5 of the manual if you are following along.
Right, so page 5 goes over this information as well. My password, I'm going to change my password to CLIP. And employee IDs, once you have employees set up, you can then locate employees. We don't have employees, so maybe we can come back here and do this if we have time later. Since this employee that I'm setting up is going to be a CLIP2Go user, I want to make sure that I have the CLIP2Go permissions checked. If I don't have any of these things checked, basically I wouldn't be able to do anything. I'm going to go ahead and check all, but hitting check all does everything for me. It checks all permissions. I just did that just to save time, save it from me going through here and checking all these little boxes. So now that we have an employee, we have a user ID with a password, and we have full permissions here. There is also we have the first user is already set up. So I'm going to hit save.
Now, Stephen, I have one question here. The employee ID, what's the benefit of having that in here? Does that make any sort of a difference?
It's just for more tracking purposes. You can tell which employees logged in. You can assign employee IDs. You can also assign emails. So if you send an email to this crew or to this employee, to CMS, it's connected in quite a few different ways, and I can actually show you a little bit of that here, maybe if we have time at the end of the seminar or the webinar. So I'm going to return out of here. So if you didn't get that, basically you just hit Add New User. You enter the user IDs, the employee's name. You can enter the password for them. Change their level. There can only be one level 1, but there can be as many, or it goes up to level 4 is the lowest level that we assign in CLIP. And basically that's also for tracking purposes, so you can know, okay, he's a level 4, so maybe your company might have level 4s have permissions to CLIP2Go and CLIP2Go only. They may not have permission to actually log into the CLIP program and do anything in the office, but only access to CLIP2Go information. So once you have this set up, again, you can hit check all, or you can just select whatever permissions you want this new employee to have. I'm going to hit save. And you can come back and edit these permissions, edit the user user ID and the password at any time. And you can add emails and employee IDs whenever you have time, whenever you're ready to set those up. So now that we have our employees set up, the other thing that we need to do is going to be set up the company password. And to do that, actually I can't do that because I'm not logged in as a level 1. So what you may need to do is hit log off here, and this will log you off the system and enable you to log in. So I'm going to use a level 1 password. For this one we had set up, it was clip. Whoop. Clip. There we go. Going to log in now. And now I'm logged in as a level 1 user. Since I'm the level 1 user, I then have access to set up the company password. Let's see, web service. Nope, let me close. You may need to close clip out and open it up again. So give me a second. I have my copies of clips in several different places. Just got to find the right one. Here we go.
And then we're still on the bottom of page 5 here, about to go on to the top of page 6. Kind of has the words in the bottom of page 5 and then the picture on the first part of page 6.
Right, so now that we signed in, and hopefully I'm thinking this should, email settings, still giving us an issue. All right. Well, what would happen here is you would you would add the password, and this timeout here for CLIP2Go is very, very important. You need to make sure that this is set to something other than 0. I think our default settings for our lawn care company is, I think it's like 720 minutes. Basically, it's just a huge amount of time, and the reason for that is so that we don't have, it doesn't log out on the crews when they're out in the field. Say if they logged in, they start a job, they jump out of the truck, and they go out and cut grass. Now when they come back in, they come back into the truck after 20 minutes. If the timeout time for CLIP2Go was only 10 minutes, they would have to go through that whole process of logging back in again. Now we realize that's not the end of the world, but it can cause some frustration to the crews, and it can slow them down. So you don't really want, you probably want to make your crews as happy as you can and make things as easy for them as possible. So, but depending on the purpose, you may want to have a timeout for CLIP2Go depending on how you use it.
Now, it may have not worked. This is a test data that we just started and everything, so it's something along those lines, but we'll figure it out and send you an email when the webinar's over why it didn't work right here.
Right, and if any of you are setting up CLIP2Go for the first time and this happened here, it's all right. Call support, and there's a couple of steps that we can run through with you to make sure this issue gets fixed. So I'm just going to hit return, and we're going to go ahead and continue setting this up, but if we end up, actually, let me open a different copy of clip that I know will be compatible, because now that we have employees, or we set up, let's go ahead and set up employees, I guess, because employees are needed in order to get CLIP2Go working. So we have customers here. So if I check this here, I see, yep, I have several customers set up, but I don't have any employees. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and add a new employee. So I'm going to start employee numbers. Employees are going to start at 1. And
now that's a way that you can just organize your information better. Have all your employees start at 1 and go up, and then have all your customers start at 100 or something along those lines, depending on how many employees that you have or are planning on having in the future.
Right. So here we are. We're just choosing the pattern. As you can see, it's the same way as setting up a brand new customer inside of your copy of clip. So I'm going to hit copy from pattern, and again, I'm just going to put myself down here. And it's an employee, so this other information doesn't really matter too much. You can put that information in if you want it just for your records, but it's an employee, so your crews don't need to know the address, so they don't come out, because they're not coming out to cut this guy's
Unless your
house.
employer pays for your services.
Right, you can have an employee that's also a customer. But now that we have this employee set here, well, we added this guy. We know he's an employee, so let's go ahead and check him off as an employee. Now, before you do anything else, once you've checked employee, it requires that you put an employee ID in. Now, it can be a variation of letters, numbers. It just has to be four letters or numbers long. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to start typing the first four letters of my name, and that puts in there, so step.
Yeah, some people do first two letters of your first name, first two of your last name, just anything that just a system so that you can identify it quickly when it comes up on reports and things like that.
Right. So we have this, we have the employees set up now. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And this has saved this information for us. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and just close out. Well, so basically adding an employee is basically the same as adding a customer, but you do need to check up here that it is an employee and enter the employee ID. And that's basically how you add employees. Once you have employees added, then the other thing you need to watch, the other thing you need to do is set up crews. Now, crew setup is under System, Crew Setup. Now, I'm just going to click on that. It goes through pretty. I think that's on page 6 is where it shows you how to get there. Now that we've clicked Crew Setup, here's the options that we have. Now, basically, because this is a blank copy, we don't have any information in here. We're starting from fresh and having to start up a new crew. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Add Crew. And it automatically puts the first crew number as 1. And I'm going to say, okay, that's fine. I can change the name here. I can call it Stevens Crew 1. There we go. And again, I can put my email address in here. I can put different information in here, truck number, GPS ID, and I believe that's if you're using US fleet tracking. So now that we have this set up, we have Crew 1 set up. We don't have any employees set up for Crew 1, which we do need in order to get CLIP2Go up and running. So I'm going to go ahead and add employees. And here's Steven. So he's the only employee that I have. So I'm going to go ahead and add Steven to Crew 1, Steven's Crew 1. I hit save, and that sets him up here.
Now, the foreman box, that's where the employee ID would come in handy. You would put the employee
Right.
ID in the foreman box?
So for this one, what do we say? And if I go out of here, it tells me to enter to select. And it goes ahead and sets Steven as the foreman for this crew, which can be useful. So now that we set up one crew, I'm going to go ahead and hit save. We can run through.
Now, one more question. The email, what would that be used for?
You could email route sheets to your crews.
So that's more if you weren't using CLIP2Go.
Right.
Okay.
And yeah, so because see, here's the box here, email route sheets to crews. You can have that checked. So basically, to add a crew, just hit the Add Crew button. It'll automatically give you the next number, Crew 2. You can type in the name, and again, we'll go Crew 2. Save, and I can put more information in here like we did a Crew 1, and add employee. Now, I only have one employee added, so I'm going to have to add this guy again. Poor guys, we're having to work overtime for 2 crews. And he's set up there. We have 2 crews. Now, I know, looks like there is 2 crews. It's only showing you the last crew that you made, but if we hit return, go to System, Crew Setup, you'll see both crews that we have. And they both have the same employee.
And with crews, in CLIP2Go, you can edit them. So if you have someone who's sick one day or something along those lines, the crew itself can add a member to the crew or subtract a member from the crew or anything along those lines in CLIP2Go. So you don't have to be too specific about the way that you set up your crews here because there's a lot of editing that can go on just because we know that there's a lot of editing of crews that goes on in the field.
Right, so now that we have this set up, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to a copy that already has some of the information, and I'll show you I'll show you how to edit the company password and change the timeout. I'll show you on a copy that we have already set up. So again, let me just log into here. So here's a copy of Clip, and you might have noticed that the theme has changed, and that's another thing that you can do if you have users set up. You can change the themes for different users,
And this is only with the most recent update of ClipXE. So if you have an older update, it won't have this feature, but if you do have the most recent, then it will. Will be able to see it a little different.
Right. And if you're interested in doing that, you can just email support, and we'll give you the instructions how to change the theme. Or if we have time here at the end of the webinar, we'll get to that. So I'm going to go to the email settings, so System Email Settings, and this is my information here. So here's what I have set up. So right now my company password is 1234, and my timeout is 720 minutes. So now that I know what my company password is, if I wanted to change it, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to change it to Clip. Just going to hit return, and now I should be ready to upload the Clip2Go. And just to review kind of what we went over, the first thing we did was set up users and passwords. After that, we then set up employees, and employees are set up basically the same as customers, only you check off that it's an employee in the top right corner and add the employee ID. Once we have employees added, then we switched over to setting up crews, and we set up our crews. We added crew 1, and then we added an employee to crew 1.
Now with the uploading information, is this kind of the same thing they would do every day when they sent the information, or is this something special for the first time?
Right. Well, it depends how you use Clip2Go. Some companies just like to have Clip2Go for the manager or for the owner or for the foreman, so that they can see, okay, here's all my, basically, and you'll see once we get logged in, it has all the company information, so you can see your whole customer list. You can see a history for the jobs that you did for your customer. There's a lot of information up there that's very useful to an owner or a manager, just so he can keep an eye on what was done. So if a customer calls up and says, hey, what did you guys, what did you do for me last time you're here? You'd be like, well, let me look up and see what we did. And I can show you that here. The other thing that you can use Clip2Go for is you can use it for just route sheets only. The first time that you do an upload, you will need to do a full upload just to get customer information and everything up there. But after it's up there, then you just need to click on route sheets only if that's all that you intend to use it for.
Yeah, unless you wanted to, if you wanted to see the information, the history every time, then you'd want to keep uploading everything so that everything was there.
Okay, so we have everything. We've gone over that. So now we are ready to upload the Clip2Go. What we'll do at this point is you'll hit the send button. Now, depending on the theme that you're using, Clip2Go box could be up here in this area, or it could be down here in this area. But my Clip2Go is up here, so I'm going to go ahead and hit send. And this brings me, you notice this is the same as a route sheet screen. So I go down to the bottom and I hit upload to Clip2Go. And that's fine. That's just letting me know that there are jobs recorded as done but not posted in the workbank. That's fine. That's because this is another test copy. I'm always moving data through it. So here's the options. Now this is kind of important. Clip2Go was an older program. I believe there's still one or two companies that use it, but we've since updated our system, and it's now called Clip2Go Web/Clip Connect. And I think that's the title on the manual that you have as well. It's not just the Clip2Go manual. It should be like Clip2Go Web. So make sure that the Clip2Go Web box is checked and not the Clip2Go. So once we have that set, then I hit process. And this brings me to select what information I want to actually send up to Clip2Go. So here's where we said if you want to send the route sheets only, and you can do this after you've done the first initial upload to Clip2Go. This is where you would go. Now the other area here, and actually let me do something here. Just let me clear my, seems like have a couple of different things going here. Okay, so we don't, all right, so we're all set here. I'm going to hit process and send, and this is going to send up it's going to show a history back to the January 1st, 2013. Now you can go you can go way back if you want, but the further back you go, the longer it will take to upload because that's more information that you're pushing up.
So the initial time we wouldn't have to check the on-hold customers or the include vendors? Or how does it work with the initial upload?
Right. The initial time, the important thing to check is you want to upload. You do want to upload customers, so you're going to check active customers to upload. You can check on-hold customers as well. That's fine. If you care to have on-hold customers on Clip2Go, you may or may not. It depends. If your on-hold customers are customers that you're no longer providing any service for, then there's no reason to have that checked. Vendors, again, those are from your customer list, and you can find those in there. If you want to have access to those and see their information online, then by all means go ahead and send them up as well. It is important and very critical to this that you do have include employees checked. Employees will just push those up and help get the crews all set up. Now that we have that, we're also going to include, you can include no activity. So you might have active customers, but some of your active customers, maybe you didn't do a job for them in the past year. And if that's so, then what you can do is you can check this include no activity, which means if you haven't done any activity for the customer, they're not going to get sent up. But if you have this checked, then they're going to go ahead and get sent up. And customers active since. So these are just kind of self-explanatory going through here. And also CMS, how far out do you want your CMS dates uploaded to Clip2Go? So now that we have this, we've gone through this one here, we're going to hit process and send. And you would be able to see it, but it's on my other screen here. It's just a little progress bar. And if you're going through this step at the time, another thing to notice is maybe you guys didn't have work in the workbank. Work in the workbank is also critical to Clip2Go. Because this is a copy of Clip that I use for testing all the time, I had work in the workbank, but you do need to have work in the workbank. So if you don't have work in the workbank, go ahead and you can just back out of this, refresh the workbank, and then come back into it, and you should be able to upload fine.
So you might have to set up a job first if this is your brand new first time to use Clip.
Right, and if you're brand new, that's fine. Don't worry. You can watch this. We'll send this webinar out to you guys after we've finished here, and you can also call us at support, and we'd be happy to walk you through the steps one-on-one and go over setting up Clip2Go. So now that the first process is done, that was getting the information ready to upload. Here's the final upload process. I'm going to go ahead and hit process. And if this is your first time, but maybe you've upgraded from Clip Desktop recently, and you've been using Clip for years, and so you have a lot of history, and you're trying to push that all up, this step here can actually take quite a while. Well, quite a while. It can take up to 5 minutes, depending on how much data you're pushing up.
Yeah, so just go get a cup of coffee, come back, and then it'll be ready to go.
Once this goes through, and now it's taking a little while here, just trying to push up the workbank.
And if you looked in your manual, we actually skipped that part, but with refreshing the program or the workbank, that's what it talks about on page 8. And then on page 9, it talks about the actual uploading to Clip2Go. And it looks like we kind of fell behind with telling you the page numbers. Sorry about that. And on page 10, we went over that as well, and it explains on that page 10 each of the fields, just like we did, so you can read each of those fields and what they mean. And then if you're still confused about something that we didn't go over too thoroughly. And then on page 11, then that's where we are now. It says to click the process button, and then that will happen. And then after that, you can go to the Clip2Go page. And I will actually send you the link to that page right now. It's one that's not very easy to type in every time, so you'll want to maybe save it as a bookmark or something along those lines, and then you can just click it easily.
Right, and there's different ways that you can bookmark this web page on your iPhone or your Android, depending whatever phone you're using. You can bookmark websites, and it will save it as like a shortcut on your main phone's homepage.
Yes, so if you look in the chat box, then I just sent that. It's right there, and you can look and see the link and just click on that, and it'll go straight to that page once and then after this uploading is finished, then you can type in your company information and everything along those lines.
Right. Well, this is taking a little longer than I was thinking it was going to take, and maybe for most of you it's probably already done. I think the reason why this is taking so long is I think I pulled our actual clip long care a backup from there. I think I pulled one of their backups that we use for testing, so we can have actually have a lot of information there. So that may have been why it took so long. But anyways, we have that up and going, and we'll see that here what we have. I'm going to bring this over. So here's the Clip2Go web page, and let's see the clip serial number. Now this is your clip serial number. If you're new to clip and you're not sure where to find that number is actually going to be up here on the top of the bar. It's going to say whatever version of clip you're using, and it's going to say your company's name. After that, it'll give the date, and then it will show clip number. For this instance here, mine is 110. So now that you know where to find your clip number, you can go ahead and enter that in where it says enter clip serial number. Now the password, this is the company password that we set up. We set it up, we changed it from 1234 to clip, and that enabled me to get in. Now this user sign-in, this is the same that is set up to log into your clip. So I know that first one was something new to many of you. You may not have seen that before, but this user sign-in, these are going to be the list of users that you have in clip, and I'm going to go ahead and choose clip. Oh no, this will be interesting. See if I can figure out what this. There's several options here for this password. Oh, tried the wrong one. Let me try this one here. There we go. So now that we've logged into Clip2Go, that basically shows you guys how the whole setup process works.
So go ahead and type in any questions if you have questions about the setup, and then we can go to those. And also, we'll go ahead now and show you kind of how to use Clip2Go on a daily basis and what to do from there, the features that it has specifically, and things along those lines. So if you have any questions about how to set it up, go ahead, type those into the question box, and we can address those. If not, and we're good to go, then we'll just move forward and move on. So it looks like we are. So let's go ahead and show maybe the punching in as an employee first.
Right, yeah, so if you have employees set up, a cool thing that we have is if you're tracking jobs and stuff, you can also there's also a time clock here that we built in. So to use this, there's just a time clock button here. Just going to go ahead and click on that, and here's my employees. Okay, well, I can tell by this isn't actually CLC's data. We don't actually have Tarzan and Jedi or George of the Jungle. They don't actually work for us. Now, someone did ask, should I use a tablet or phone for the employee interface? That depends. I'm not sure what you mean by the employee interface. If you mean like this home page here, then it's really preference. If you have a tablet, obviously it's going to be easier for the crews to see. It's going to be easier for them to maneuver around the website. Now we do have several features built in. If I go to route sheets here, you'll notice once I hit see work, it may be already saved. But once you go to route sheets and you hit see work for the crew, a little box should pop up and it will say, is this a mobile or web browser? And that will help kind of change the screen to suit you guys. Yep, there you go. Here's the go to mobile version. And if I do that, whoops, that's probably because I'm doing it here on a website. Normally don't do that. It's not sure. The browser's not sure how to handle that.
So if you're on your phone or tablet, you can, or if you're on your phone, you could do the mobile version. It's really preference. You can kind of play around, look on your phone, look at it, see how it looks, see if it's, it's a lot of people use the phones for Clip2Go, so it shouldn't be an issue. But a tablet, it is nicer because it's a larger screen.
Right. The mobile version just compresses things and magnifies the buttons a little bit bigger, just makes it easier to read on a phone. I personally prefer just to have the web version, so I see everything. It's kind of small, and I might have to zoom in a little bit, but I just like being able to see all the information at once, even though it is really tiny, and that's just my preference.
And one other thing, actually, that I just thought of that we had a question a while ago is how much data would you have to purchase for a crew to use Clip2Go on a tablet on a daily basis?
That's a good question. Clip2Go doesn't use that much data. There's You should be okay with like one of the smallest data plans that you can get, but you're going to run into trouble if you're using other applications, like if you're streaming videos or music throughout the day. That will really chew through your data. But if you're just using Clip2Go, you should be fine with more of a basic data plan. And someone, all right. So that should cover that. Now I guess let's go back here and go to the time clock. So here's the time clock. So let's say George is coming to work and he's going to start the day. What he needs to do is just select his name, and so if you're using a phone or tablet, basically just click on it. You can see which one's highlighted once you have it clicked. So we're going to click on George and just hit punch clock. And basically that just puts George in at 11:36. And this information, whenever you're downloading work, can get pulled back into the clip work. So if you're recording employee hours and stuff like that, it can be useful to use this. And at the end of the day, when he's done, or if he wants to go on a lunch break, he would hit punch clock, and that will have him punch out at lunch, and then he can hit punch clock again. So basically it keeps track of how many times he's punched in, for how long he's punched in. It's just a good, useful little tool there that we've included in Clip2Go. Now, the main purpose for Clip2Go is basically what we recommend is recording work. So I'm going to go to route sheets here. So here's crew 1, and if I wanted to go to a different crew, I could change that here. But we're going to keep with crew 1 just for today. And let's say, okay, so Tarzan came in, or Tarzan didn't come in today. Tarzan was sick, so we're going to go ahead and delete him from this crew. And basically, this enables your crews to do the changing of work around to figure out which employees came in, which employees were associated with this job, and just it'll help you. It'll save you time in the office later from having to say, "Oh wait, this guy wasn't here. This guy was," and just it's easier if the employees can just do it and change it around here. If George was in the George came in and Tarzan didn't, but he still needed someone to go with him, he could come to the add button and he can add Jedi Knight to help him for the day. So Jedi Knight then joins George to work for crew 1 for the day. Once this is done, you can hit see work, and this will show me all the work. Well, I don't have too much work to do. I do have one job here for seaworthy vessel, and so this shows us the total man hours. So if there's multiple jobs in here, this would total the man hours up at the top, so we can see how long it's expected to take to do all this. Once we have that, we can see our jobs. Now, one cool trick here is actually with Google Maps. This here will look at the address. So if we had multiple houses here, we could select them, and then we could see the address here. But let's say the crew had never been to this property before, and they want to see how to get there. So what they can do is just hit the Google Maps, and it will actually show them on Google Maps where this house is located. This can be useful for your crews if they're trying to figure out where to go and they're unsure. So here's where the job is.
And you notice that opened up a separate tab. So then to go back, we just have to click that tab, the Clip2Go tab again, and then we can go ahead and see this. One person asked where we are in this page. If you, at the home screen of Clip2Go, if you just click the route sheet in the top of those 3 sections, that'll take you straight to it, and you'll be able to see it right there.
And basically in the manual, we're not really, at this point, we're after page 14. We're just kind of going through, just trying to hit some of the highlights of Clip2Go and how to use it, just as giving you guys a quick overview of the important features of Clip2Go. So we know where this job is, so our crews go ahead and drive to this address. Once they get there, they'd hit select. Now this brings up, this shows me what job they have to do, and the budgeted man hours for 2 employees is 53 minutes. So they see the lawn maintenance and they're getting ready, they've, as soon as they get to the property, they can hit start. Once they hit start, then it takes you to this screen. It can shows you all this information here. Basically what Clip2Go is useful for, if you add notes or stuff, you can have those and you can send those back to Clip or back into ClipXC. And if you're interested in figuring out how to add notes, how to add materials to job, how to set up lawn conditions, we did go over that last week in the webinar. So if you want to know more information on that, then go ahead and review last week's webinar. Or if you have questions, call support or send us an email.
And Michelle, actually the page that we were on before was, it looks like somewhere around page 16 or a little bit after that, if you were looking for that in the manual.
So these crews have gone through and they've finished the job now. They've jumped out, they've cut the grass, they've loaded the truck back up. And as soon as they've gotten there, then what they're going to do, they're in the truck, they're getting ready to drive to the next location. They would then hit end, and it comes up with the option, is this job completely done? Okay, or cancel. And you'll just hit OK if the job is done, and this will remove the job from the list. Now I notice there is no more jobs here to do, but if there was, they would just remain here. And we can actually go check crew 2, see if crew 2 has any more work. Okay, so crew 2 does have 2 more jobs. So basically when you start a job, you hit start and end. Is it completely done? And this is just, there's a material with this job. You can include how many annuals you used. Click add, and that adds them. So this is if you want to add more materials. And again, like adding materials and stuff, that can be really useful, but we covered more information on that in the previous webinar. I'm not sure how we did, but it seems like we kind of did them backwards.
Yes, because we got so many requests for this type of a webinar after the other webinar that we did. And let's see, can we also look a little bit at kind of looking up the customer's information?
Yeah, so if you're not wanting to use, if you want to use Clip2Go for looking up customers' information, which many companies do this as well. Instead of some companies just use it for route sheets, some use it for just looking up customer information, some use them for both. But if you're wanting to look up customer information on Clip2Go, what you could do, or what you would do, is go to customer list and let's see if I can figure out what we have one called. Customer 1009, seaworthy vessel. So this is the job that we just did. If I wanted to see this customer, I would look up the customer number or the customer name right here, and I would hit select. Now, I didn't select them. There we go. This shows me, and this, many of you will recognize this as you're getting things set up. You'll see that this is information. This information is displayed very, very similar to the way that it is in your ClipXC program with the customer tab, job tab, history, and so forth. This information here should look very familiar to you. You notice we still have the Google Maps button here as well if you wanted to see where the customer was located, where the address was. You can go to the job screen, and again, we have all the same sub-tabs here that were in subcat jobs that we're in for that are in ClipXC. Sorry about that. And we also have, you can schedule a job. You can actually add jobs to the workbank from here. So if we go back and we wanted to do that, we could do, okay, let's test with this mulching job here. I'm going to go to the schedule, and I'm going to change this to crew 1. And we're going to make the next scheduled visit date today. I'm going to hit save and add job to workbank. And it's already been added to workbank since we saved it with the next scheduled visit date and crew 1. So we'll go back to that here in just a minute, but I'm going to finish going through some of the other features on Clip2Go that we have for customers. So if you look at this here, this is the history tab. You can see various history that you have for customers. You can see what was done. So a lot of installments and a lot of test stuff. So basically it'll just show you here how much it cost, what was the name of the job, and when it was done. There's also CMS. You can check CMSs for customers. You can add a CMS for a customer from this screen. Programs, you can see what programs and rounds this customer has. And also property information if you need to put directions in there for the customer. And again, this is just information that you'll find in the CLIP2Go screen.
Now, Stephen, because it's web-based and CLIP2Go is not web-based, in order to get the information, this information that I add about this customer back to CLIP2Go, I would do that when I recorded the work.
Right, when you're receiving jobs from CLIP2Go, and we'll get to that. Actually, we should probably get to that here fairly quickly. But before we go there, let me just go ahead and try. Let me just show you how we added that job to the workbank for Crew 1. So here's Seaworthy Vessel, and here's our, if we click Select, here's our mulching job back done. And this job has been completed. So basically we just have the mulching job left, and we can start that whenever we're ready. Once you've done this, when you're at this stage, so at the end of the day, after your crews have recorded all of the jobs and you're ready to, once your crews have recorded all the jobs, at the end of the day, what you would do then, you'd come back in the clip and you would go to the CLIP2Go receive box. And again, this is the same as with the upload to CLIP2Go. You got to make sure that the CLIP2Go web box is checked and not just the CLIP2Go. So I'm going to go ahead and check, make sure this is right. I'm going to go ahead and hit process. And again, this is because I'm running a testing copy here. It says for testing purposes, and that's fine. Click OK to that. And this lets me know files have been synced. Go to record work, CLIP2Go, and process finished recorded work. I'm going to click OK there. Now that I've done that, if I had notes and stuff, I'd be alerted that at that point if I had notes that were done on CLIP2Go. But at this point, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the record work screen.
And those are notes that the crew puts in while they're doing a job. Maybe they forgot to clock out at the right times. They say add 10 minutes to my time, or just anything along those lines. And then you'll be alerted right there. There are notes. Look at these before you record and finalize the work. And so then you can look at those and make any adjustments that need to be made according to the crew, and then do it that way.
Right, so here we go. Here we go now. Now there's one final step here to get the work into the workbank. I'm going to hit download option, or download from CLIP2Go, hit process, and this lets me know that it's been done. So now we can see that there's 3 jobs marked done, whereas there was only 1. And we can go into this mark work is done, and we can see the jobs that were done on CLIP2Go. And if we need to edit or change information here, because like we said, if the crew forgot to clock out on time, I just hit record, and we could change.
This screen is just the same as it is when you normally record work. It kind of just puts everything into the normal workbank fashion or way that it normally is, but with the information that you said on CLIP2Go.
Right, so here's where we are. Let's say the crew forgot to clock out at 11, or they clocked out at 11. They didn't. Let's say they forgot to clock in. We can adjust this start time to, we can change that to 20. There we go, and that will go ahead and automatically update the rest of the information here for the customer.
And even from here, you can change the crew members that were on it or anything along those lines if they didn't do it from the field. Now, obviously, it's much easier for you at the end of the day if you have the crew set up the crew correctly with who's on the crew before they start doing their jobs and everything, so you don't have to do any editing right here in CLIP2Go. Now, normally, pressing start and stop, it's easy. They remember it. It's not much of a problem, depending on your crew members, but we haven't had a problem with and we haven't heard many.
Right, it's easy to forget though, because I remember last spring when I was out helping do spring cleanups, it was easy sometimes if you're not used to it. If it's a first time, if you're introducing something new, it can be easy to forget. So you may have to, let them know how to add notes at first. But it's something new. New can always take a little bit here to get used to.
But once they're used to it, and once you have the system in place, then it's easy. They'll remember. You'll have hardly anything to do at the end of the day.
Right, and that's basically the basic use here for recording for using CLIP2Go, how to set it up, and also the basic functionality of it and how it works inside once you do have it set up.
Yeah, and when we'll look up that error on the company password that we had originally, see kind of what the issue was with that. And then when I send that email out to you, I'll include a link to the next clip, the Clip2Go webinar that we did last week, so you have that and you can look that up. One thing, can we show them real quick just how to change their theme? Because we said we'd mention that at the end.
We did. So let's do that. So if you want to change your theme, and this can be done per user. So once you have different users set up, you can allow users to change whatever theme they like, just whatever they think looks best. It's a little thing, but we're trying to update the look of our program here. So if you go to password, set passwords. Now I am currently logged in as Clip, and that's fine. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and change the theme.
So he just double clicked on it there.
Right. You can double click on it, or you can click Edit User. And we're going to go to the menu, Other Options, menu Options, Other. And once we click that, right in the middle you'll see the theme control. Now there's the modern theme, the classic theme, and modern theme 2. Yeah.
They're each a little different. You can kind of look at them and see what you like. Classic theme is what you've always seen. Modern theme is what you see now, and modern 2 theme is something that's just a little bit different.
If you don't like it, I did have a little bit of input on it, and I wouldn't be offended if you're not the biggest fan of it. But some people do like it. It's just a different style. But that's why I'm not a graphic designer, and you may see that once you take a look at it.
But anyway, so you can have different themes for different people. You don't have to have the same theme for everyone. If some employees like seeing this theme and others like the other one, just edit it under the user, and so you can make the changes with that. All right, so I think that's everything that we have for today. Just one second here. So I'll be sending out that link to this recorded webinar when I send out the next invitation on Monday. And then, like I said before, I'll also send you why that didn't work and the link to last week's webinar. But this recorded webinar, this will be available to you on Monday, and I'll send that out with the normal invitation to everyone. And so you'll see that sometime Monday afternoon, and you can look at it and hear this webinar again if you want. And if you haven't been receiving the emails from them, from us on Mondays, you can sign up again on our website. Go to clip.com, then go to the training tab, then go to webinars. It's pretty easy to find. There's actually a link to it right on the home page to the webinars, straight to the webinars. For those of you who weren't here in the beginning, Dave will be giving a fantastic webinar next week on management by numbers. And we're about to cut down on the number of webinars that we offer due to the fact that you all are usually too busy to attend them in the summer months. We'll still be giving webinars, but mostly over ClipXC, not so much general business principles, excuse me. So this webinar is one of the last like it that we'll have for a while. If you love hearing from Dave how to run your business better, and going beyond ClipXC, getting into things like profitability, general management, his book is a great resource. It's called The Beautiful Business, and you can find it at thebeautifulbusiness.com. And I can go ahead and look this, and I have it right here for you. And that's thebeautifulbusiness.com. You can order it on Amazon. If you just look up Dave Tucker on Amazon, it comes right as the first option on there. And so you can look for it. Just go to Amazon, type in Dave Tucker, and it'll be right there. If you're interested in business principles, how to run your company, it hardly even mentions CLIP in it. It's all business principles. Well, thanks everyone for being with us today. Thanks for being our customers and letting us serve you. We love having that opportunity. We don't take that responsibility lightly. There is a survey at the end of this webinar. If you could just stick around for a couple of seconds. It's 4 or 5 questions I don't quite remember, but I go over those, and if you have suggestions about topics you'd like to hear about or anything along those lines, we definitely pay close attention to the things that's entered into those surveys. So look at that, stick around for just a couple seconds. And then I hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy this warmer weather that's finally coming along, at least around this area. And I hope that you're all having a great start to 2014 season. And as always, your success is our business.